Hi, Joe Cerrone.
Al Rosen.
Welcome to CAD 116 Basic AutoCAD. This is our weekly Zoom meeting. Al, could you tell them about the main splash page here?
Yeah, Joe, can you do me a favor real quick? Click that continuance on there. I don't know if it's coming up on yours, but it comes up on mine.
Click on what?
I got it. I took care of it. Okay. First one, splash page, our main one. This is announcements getting started as of today's date. We're going to be reading, or you guys should be reading chapter 1 and chapter 2, reading AutoCAD and applications. Mod 1 drawing exercises will be used in AutoCAD. Hopefully your AutoCAD is working. If not, hopefully you will explain and ask us questions why it's not working, and hopefully we'll get to it and get you ready to go up and running.
Let's talk about that for 1 second before we go into the rest of it. So this is the first time we're using a digital textbook. And so the first time we're using the digital textbook, we set everything up with the IT department. It costs less and it works better, but we're having some access problems. And so what I did was I contacted Goodhart Wilcox and I put in this announcement about putting in a support ticket. So if you have your digital access code and it's not working, meaning when you go to the Oakton website, or at least when you go to content and you start looking at some of the links that are by Goodhart Wilcox. And so the links would be these exercises. And so here, chapter 1 online textbook. There it is. And so I'm able to access it. So mine is working. And then when we go into what they did for us was they just included all of the questions and exercises from the chapter. And so you should be able to click on these links. And the ones in the first few chapters are really just how to turn on the computer and do some basic things. So we're not requiring students to do those. But when we get into later chapters, they're better. And so we'll use some of the publisher links. Again, if you're not able to access the book, then fill out this help desk ticket. And I will call them. And sometimes the stories aren't the same when I talk to different operators. So email us and tell us what they're telling you. All right.
Okay.
Back to be my guest, Al. Go ahead.
Mod 1. Mod 1, we broke down this beforehand, is Introduction to AutoCAD. And our learning objectives right there is, if you can make it larger, please. There we go. Thank you. Define computer-aided design and drafting. Typical AutoCAD applications. Explain the value of planning, how to work with arrangements, and all the rest of it. Nice and neat. Learning help resources, which we just showed you. And that is for mod 1, chapter 1. Next one is for chapter 2, mod 2. Okay. And it has, after completing this chapter, you will be able to do the following. Okay. Start a new drawing, save drawing, close drawings, open and save files, which is very helpful because we'll show you today how to save it, why to save it, when to save it, how to save it different ways, which might help you later on in the course. Okay. Working with multiple drawings and documents onto it. And right below this, okay, there's templates and everything else. This is what we're going to be doing today. And have a two-dimensional drawing up and running, how to start and everything else. And then on here is module 1. And what Joe and I have done so far, and Joe's very, very good at this, is making YouTube videos we have on here. And click on the video, Joe, real quick. HH right there. Beautiful. It should come automatically.
Right. So we recorded this video in February 2020. So they're relatively new. Some of the other videos are a little bit dated, but they still work just fine. And so when we run these Zoom meetings, we're going to basically do these 10-minute, here's what you have to do. and show you where the resources are. So there's no reason for us to go through and do all of this if there's a video that we can kind of link you to. And so that's sort of how we're running the course, where we have the content, we have the videos, and then we're going to direct you to those. But every week we'll run a meeting so that you can ask questions, and then, yeah, we can get into all the nuts and bolts and the details behind why we're doing what we're doing. So that's one of the videos. And then if I go back here, we also have these plate assignments. And so Al and I have been doing CAD for a long time, and we find these are better than some of the textbook stuff, because the textbook is just going through and talking to you about drawing. And so let's actually do some drawings. And so Al and I like to run workshops. We've been teaching for quite some time. And so we have these plate drawings set up for you. And the video shows you how to work those plate drawings. And here they are right here, plate 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the way we run the course, if we take a look at the outline of topics, everything is going to be under content. Well, not everything, but we have a content section, which every week we'll go through the tasks that we have. And so I'm going to view this as a student. And then we're going to go to the content tab. And if we look at the content tab for chapter 1, and I'm going to have to make this a little bit
smaller.
Yeah. So students are able to see all the chapters here for the textbook, chapter 1. And then here are the chapters for the textbook. And Al and I will be releasing these as we go. And so next week you'll see chapter 2. I can see you have some of the chapters turned off, and I'll turn those on as we go through. But every one of them has these assignments in it. You'll also notice some of these links like getting started, and these go to the CAD website, which we developed in 2007 before D2L, and we're moving away from it. But there's a lot of really good content in here. So we do have some good things for you here, like videos and content, but we'll be updating the D2L primarily now instead of having 2 sites. But there is good content here, and so we keep that in here. And then if we look at the outline of topics, we put in the outline of topics, and the dates on this are to start every Monday, and we have the meetings on Wednesday. And so every Wednesday we have our CAD 116 OC1 meeting. We also have a CAD 116 class meeting on Sunday mornings. And so we'll be putting into the announcements that students can attend either one. The courses follow the same system, where things that are in blue are reading assignments, and things that are in green are CAD assignments. And then things that are in red are quizzes that you need to take for a test. The tests that we have for the modules are not proctored. You're on your honor for those. You can use the book, you can use the computer. In fact, we encourage it. We use the quiz data to assess people are meeting the learning objectives. How can we tell if you're learning something unless we have some data? And so that's what the quizzes do. And so you should take a quiz for every module that you're on. We don't set late dates for quizzes. We just set when you should do them, and you should do those as the modules roll out. So when module 3 rolls out, you should do quiz 3. Do you have to? No, but you will need those points if you're going to get a good grade. Quizzes are located here under quizzes and exams. And then here's our quiz, got it called test 1. And so students can go through and take these tests. And then in our content section, we have our labs. And what we found was that our exercises are better than their exercises. If I look at one of their links, they really just kind of go through, you know, how to open a template, what a DWT file is, And we'll talk about these things: workspace switching, applications menu. And we'll do those after we do like our main Zoom meeting. When we open things up for question, that's when you can say, hey, Joe, what is the workspace? How do I switch that? Give me some tips and tricks on how to work with that. And that's what Al and I really like to do. All right, so we're at about 10 minutes into our 10-minute Zoom introduction. Your assignment for this week is to do Module 1. And Module 1 is these template drawings. Al has them all linked, so you can click on the link here, and you can then look at the PDF. These were taken from Oakton, so some of the directions refer to the server. We have everything in D2L now, but the assignments are still valid. And so you're going to create this geometry, and then you're going to save the drawing. And then once you have the drawing saved, you'll put it into the assignments folder. So for example, I can go to my AutoCAD. And here's the assignment. Now, how did I get that? Well, if I come back to AutoCAD, and then I click on the title block. So we probably have to show them.
It's right there. Go down a little further. Keep going, right at the bottom, right there. It's Mod 1 PDF.
Right, but that's a PDF. It's not a title block.
Right. But it's also on the other one too. So this gives it every chapter. If you go into content, please, real quick.
Okay.
And should say chapter 1 at the bottom. There are title blocks right there.
So we have all the title blocks for the course here. Here's the plate title block. And then we should also have it in chapter 1. Let's see. No, it's under title blocks.
Yep.
So to get the title block for the lab, you're going to go to the title block area, and then you're going to download this plate title block, and you'll open it. And then once you have it open, you'll see the grid and the snap are on, and then you will draw the objects. I'm just going to go to the other one that I have open already because I have the geometry set there. And it's basic draw commands. And so as we go through and we work these exercises, we're going to just go through and create the geometries that we have on the plates.
And by the way, Joe, explain to them that they have 5 plates on that one template, please.
Right.
I'll zoom in and out, please.
Sure. So down here at the bottom, we have these tabs, and it's like Excel. So you create the geometry for the first plate, and we have it set so that we want you guys to just use basic draw commands to start to learn about things like O-snap and to work with stuff called snap and grid. And so if I go here and I go to my object snap settings, my snap is enabled and my grid is enabled at 1/2 inch. And then polar tracking is on, and we'll explain that later. And then object snap, we really don't need for this exercise, so I'm going to turn that off. Object snap creates these magnetic grips to endpoints, midpoints, centers, and things like that. And so once we have the drawing set, you'll go through and create the drawing geometry. And in the videos, we show you how to work with these. And so I'm not going to go into all of the nuts and bolts behind that part at this point. But what Al was saying was, once you have that drawing, you want to update the title block. Make sure you put the right date on it. Okay, and so today's the 17th. So if I come back here, because when you work in this business, how do you know when the latest drawing is? By the date. And then who did the drawing? Okay, and so you're supposed to put that information in there. And then down here at the bottom, like in Excel, we have tabs. And so you can go to the next tab, and then you can start the next plate drawing. And if we take a look at that, when we look at the second plate drawing, whoops, let me refresh this. When we look at the next plate drawing, plate number 2, it's going to be like this diamond pattern. And what you're going to do when you create this drawing is you're just going to use the second tab. And so again, we'll use these line commands, and then we'll draw that. I have 2 monitors here, so I keep looking over at the one screen here. And for some of these, you have to kind of count squares. And so this one's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares down, and then 4 squares over. Right there. So I'm not in the best location. I'll just move it. And we'll teach you how to use these other commands, but you're welcome to kind of figure them out on your own. And so this is how we kind of roll out our first assignment. The first assignment is to create this plate drawing, and then you'll look at it and you'll say, Joe, this isn't so difficult. Everything's symmetrical. Do I have to draw it, with the line command? Sort of. You do have to do that, but at the other end of it, we want to make sure that everything is right. Okay. And so as I go through and create this drawing, I'll create the drawing, and then once I have this drawing done, I'll go on to plate number 3. And then I'll put plate number 3 there. And if I go back to my main splash page here, plate number 3. And so we can open that, and plate number 3 will be just geometries like this. So your assignment for the first week is to create these 5 plate drawings. Get your digital access working. If you have some difficulty with that, let us know. And also to work with the student version of AutoCAD. If you haven't got your AutoCAD up and running, make sure you tell us, and we will set up a Zoom meeting with you. Sometimes if you're having problems with the 2021 version, I had a student, and we just went back to the 2019 version and downloaded that. It's a more stable release. And so to get the AutoCAD software, you go here, and you go to the students.autodesk.com website, and you follow the directions for that. Okay. All right. So that's our basics. Your assignment, we'll put them in the main splash page. This week we'll cover Module 1 and Module 2 is in the outline of topics. Once you're done with the drawing, and I'll just pretend that I'm done, you'll go through and you'll save it. So I can go to the big red A and save as. Save it as your initials, -lab1. I put mine in my CAD 116 directory.
And what Joe and I try to explain to you, that a lot of times it's nice and easier to have like Mod 1, Mod 2, Mod 3, Mod 4. And when you save them in that directory, just like you would do outside in the courses.
Right. We'll teach you how to be organized, because that's a big thing. Nobody wants to go through and spend all week on these exercises and then not be able to find them. And that's what happens in business as well. So the book does a good job of talking to us about standards, organizing our work, planning, all the behind the scenes things for somebody who wants to be a CAD draftsperson or work with CAD. So once you have the drawing done, you'll go to the assignments folder, and then you'll turn it into the assignments folder. Let me go back here as a student so that you'll see what you see. So we go to assignments, module 1. It's worth 30 points, and here's how you'll be graded. And is the drawing complete? Is it graphically accurate? Are you using proper design rules? Are you using layers, line types, following design conventions? Proper dimensioning. These don't have dimensioning on it, so we give you the points, but when we go into other ones that do, we'll look for your dimensioning technique. And just proper use of CAD features, things like using blocks and layers and other components of the software. And so you'll come down to this point, you'll add a file, you'll locate where you put that file.
Just make it up, Joe, just pick one.
Yeah, I will. I'll just take that one. And so once you upload the file, you just add it. And then if you have a note where you could say, you know, I had some difficulty. If I could spell, it'd be great. You know, and then you could say, see attached drawing.
So basically, this, we use it two ways. To send in your drawing to us so we can grade it and get it all finished and send it back to you. Or if you're having some problems, questions, or whatever else concerns, you send it to us, and in this portion where Joe was typing, explain to us so we don't grade it. So don't grade it, please help me.
Right. And you could ask for an extension. You know, we do dock points if the drawings are late. We give you about 2 weeks from when we assign everything. So typically when we assign something on the 17th, it will be due 2 weeks later. And then you'll get a notification that you have submitted it successfully. So you'll know that that file has been turned in. And then Al and I will go through and grade them and give you feedback. Okay, so we're about 20 minutes into the main video, so I'm going to stop the video and open things for questions. So with that, I'm going to stop our video and open things for questions. If you have any other difficulties, always remember you can instant message us and Al and I will get back to you. Typically, we get back to you the same day. And so this is the best way to communicate with us. Okay, we look forward to working with you, and we'll see you next week online.